This is the channel Learn History While You Sleep. Here, you'll find immersive, softly narrated stories from ancient civilizations, medieval empires, and forgotten corners of history, all told in a calming tone designed to help you relax, unwind, and fall asleep. Each episode is crafted to blend education with rest, transforming bedtime into a gateway to the ancient world. New videos weekly. Topics: Rome, Greece, Egypt, medieval Europe, lost empires, and more. Let history guide you into dreams. Subscribe and start your journey through time while you sleep.
As you close your eyes and let the world around you fade, imagine a time when the night carried more than silence. A time when a single breath, a touch, even a whispered prayer could be the last. Tonight you will drift into a moment in history where shadows spread faster than light, and entire cities vanished while the world tried to understand why. This is the story of the Black Death, the most devastating pandemic Europe had ever seen, and how it changed everything. While the world slept, it began far away. In the 1330s, somewhere in the steppes of Central Asia, a deadly bacteria named Yersinia pestis began to spread, likely among marmots and fleas. But what started in the wild crossed into human lives, and from there, the world was never the same. By 1347, ships arrived at ports along the Mediterranean. They carried silk, spices, goods, and death. Sailors from the Genoese trade fleet docked in Sicily, and within days, the hill was overwhelmed by a sickness no one could explain. People died within hours. Boils the size of apples appeared on their skin. Blackened fingers, violent coughing, high fever, and then silence. No cure, no pattern, no mercy. Within just a few years, the plague swept through Europe like wildfire. From Italy to France, to England, to the farthest coasts of Scandinavia. No region was untouched. Between 1347 and 1351, it is estimated that between 75 and 200 million people died worldwide. Europe alone lost nearly half of its population. In some villages, not a single person survived. The disease didn't strike equally. It didn't matter if you were rich or poor, noble or peasant, priest or beggar. Kings fell sick. Archbishops died in cathedrals. Families disappeared from records. Whole generations gone. People searched for meaning. Was it a punishment from God? A curse brought by strangers? Many believed the end of days had arrived. There are written accounts from the time that speak of terror, confusion, and sorrow. One chronicler wrote, "Father abandoned child, wife fled from husband. No one dared bury the dead. Gravediggers could not keep up, corpses piled in churches and homes. The bells rang endlessly, for the dead, not the living." One of the most haunting facts is this. In some towns, the death toll was so severe that even cats and dogs were feared, hunted and killed, blamed for spreading the plague. Mass burials became common, and in some regions, so many priests had died that peasants were given permission to bury the dead without last rites. Yet, the world did not end. In the stillness of destruction, a strange rebirth began. The labor shortage changed the balance of power. Peasants, once voiceless and tied to the land, began to demand wages. Some moved freely in search of better work, something unheard of before the plague. It was, in a strange way, the beginning of the end for feudalism. The church, once the great moral and spiritual guide of Europe, lost part of its grip. People had prayed, they had fasted, they had begged, and still, death came. Many turned to mysticism or to science. The first seeds of doubt had been planted. And though the plague had brought silence to countless villages, it also cleared the path for change. Land once crowded became available. Guilds restructured. Medicine evolved. Slowly. Art, too, changed. Before the Black Death, art was bright, symbolic, divine. Afterwards, it became darker, more human, obsessed with mortality. Skulls, decay, and hourglasses became common in paintings, reminders of how fragile life had become. You may wonder, how did it end? In truth, it didn't. The Black Death never truly disappeared. It returned in waves. In 1361, 1374, 1400, and beyond. In fact, small outbreaks of plague still occur even today. But nothing has ever matched the scale and psychological impact of the pandemic of the 14th century. One forgotten curiosity. Doctors in that era wore long, beaked masks, filled with herbs and vinegar, believing that the scent of flowers or smoke would protect them. They did not know about bacteria, or fleas, or rodents. And yet, they stood among the dying, symbols of both hope and helplessness. As the plague faded and the 15th century approached, Europe emerged forever changed. New thinking, new power structures, new voices. The old world had died, and a new one began to form in its ashes. And now, as you rest your eyes, and the present fades to silence, remember that even the darkest nights in history have given way to dawn. The world you know today was shaped by the silence that followed the bells. The Black Death did not destroy the world, but it taught humanity that life is brief, fragile, and always worth rebuilding. Sleep now, and let the lessons of the past guard your dreams.